Hi everybody, I'm Lisanne Miller with W, Cushing and Company, and in coordination with Rug Hooking Magazine, we're bringing you part 2 of Prudence. You saw part 1 last Thursday, and hopefully you saw the slideshow that I put up of all the different Prudence combinations that you can come up with. So now we're going to talk about the color combinations, how to lay out your color combinations. You actually got to see what a pull and hook is with a constant. The constant is something that ties every bit of the rug together. So just to recap a little bit, here is the Prudence pattern, and this is a runner. This will be one of the new patterns introduced this coming week on our website, and it's a nice table runner. This is a really old pattern, and we are breathing new life into this pattern. So just how old is this pattern? Well, while doing some research, because everybody knows I love my rug hooking history, I was looking through the W. Kent Rare Hooked Rugs book, and as I was looking through it to do some research, I came across this piece. And if you can see this, and we can all imagine what the colors were or are if the rug still exists. This is an old rug. It is the Prudence pattern, and as you can tell, I believe it was hooked from whatever the person had in their stash. So we are breathing new life into an old pattern, and this pattern is on page 114 if you have the Kent book, and it's effective variations in pattern and colors of medallions, and it goes way back. So, and it was from the Ralph Burnham Company. So just so you understand, we are breathing new life, and sometimes as much as we think we're reinventing something in rug hooking, we're doing something that the rug hookers of yesteryear also did. So, Prudence. What is a constant? What is a tie-in? And then we'll go into the color palettes. You can't have two constants. You have to have one constant or it looks very muddied. The old way of hooking Prudence would be to value this out in a shaded pack. But that takes time. A lot of us have stash. We want to use what we have. We want to add to what we have. So in color planning Prudence, the first thing you have to pick is a background. Is it going to be light? Is it going to be dark? Because you have to bounce everything off of this. Then you have to pick your constant. In the one that I had hooked previously and in some in the slideshow, my constant were these lines. That was the same wool that took on a new life at each layer. Others that you saw, the constant was the center. And while it was a constant, maybe it was green, maybe it was red, maybe it was gold, it wasn't the same red or the same green. It was from their stash and just compiled in a pile, and where they just pulled and hooked what came up. Some chose the middle layer, and we do have examples of that in the slideshow. And the middle layer could be gold, brown, whatever color you would like. And again, it didn't have to be the same. It had to be in the same value or in the same tone, but it might be green, could be anything you would like. One or two people chose their outer layer to be their constant, and they would use a texture or a plaid. Now you can use dyed wool, you can use plaids, you can use whatever you would like in this. There's no limitation. It's just what you would like to do. Now when you're going to test your colors, as I said before, you're going to test it in a small area. This way you see if you like your palette, and after you hook your first medallion or part of a medallion, you immediately come in and sync your background to keep this line. And this also tests your background against your palette. Now, can this be done in mixed media? Sure, this is going to be a table runner. We have a pillow pattern. You can add some of our mixed media, our velvets, some of our silk dyed wools, burley spuns, yarns. You can do anything with this. This is also a mixed media project. So with Prudence in mind, we're going to go through a few color plans. And the first thing we're going to do, because I said it was the first thing you should do, is pick a background. A great background is Ocean City. It's got a little bit of blue in it. It's nicely hooked. It's a neutral. It's a light. It's a creamy light, not a white. My background on my Prudence was cloud cover because of the colors that I used. But just say you're a blue person or you want a summer tablecloth and you want to do something a little different. If you used Ocean City as your background and you used Zoot Suit as your constant. So this could be your lines, it could be your center, it could be your middle layer, anything you would like. Then you can add your colors. This can be a layer or in that value or tone. This could be another layer, so we would have Ocean City as our background, Zoot Suit as our constant. Then we would have cloud cover, Pacific Falls, and we could add in now as our third color, perhaps a boho. We could add a boho denim, a boho light blue. You could add in a yarn if you liked. So now we're bringing in a little bit of the mixed media into it. So this is one type of color plan. And the constant, you can pick the constant. This can be the lines, this could be the middle layer, this could be the center. I would probably do it as the lines and move these three around for a beautiful, beautiful color plan. Now, if you're doing a big Prudence, you saw in the color plan that you can do some of it in rows, where if this row here could be one color wave, just say a blue, this could be a teal, and this could be a blue again. That adds a geometric dimension to Prudence. So if you wanted to add a teal component and still use the same background, you could use Tempting Teal and Blue Spruce. And to digress to the first video, Blue Spruce was my constant. And why that would go here, just like this, is because it picks up the blue as well. So if you had Tempting Teal, you had Blue Spruce, and you wanted to add another color into this, you could add Mysterious Green. So your second layer, or it could be another color plan, but if you were doing it in rows, your first row would be your blues. Okay, we're still on the same background, Ocean City. Your first row would be your blues, your second row could be your teals. So this is actually two color combinations or three. This could be one, this could be one, they could be combined. Or you could pull a lighter green from your stash or pull a piece of dyed wool from it. So that does work. And this is great. This is a mixer in Prudence because it can be blue or it can be teal, a greenish teal. So Blue Spruce is a great, great color to put in your Prudence. Some other great wools to put into your Prudence, and then we'll go into a darker background and different color plans. Geo Red. Now, why is Geo Red great to put into your color plan? Because you have dark, medium, and light woven into one piece. You can cut it this way and get your different values, or you can cut it across. And when you cut it across, what you're going to get is a beautiful, beautiful different values of red. So if this is your line, or if this is your center, and you don't have a lot of red in your stash, this is one red to add in if you want red to be your constant, because you get many different looks from one piece of material. Another great one for Prudence is After Hours. After Hours hooks like a dyed wool. I did use After Hours in my Prudence. And because you have this melding of color and not a real plaid, it allows you to hook it, and when you hook it, it appears to be a dyed wool. If it's next to a lighter color, it appears lighter. If it's next to a darker color, it appears darker. So this is a great mixer for you to have in your Prudence if you like blues. This is one of my favorites, absolutely one of my favorites, Spring Plaid. I use this in my Prudence, and those that have seen my bunnies, Jack and Jill, you can separate this, and I did this with Jack and Jill, and I did it with Prudence. So you can use the blue, and then you can use the yellow-green. So if you want this to be your centers throughout, you can use this as another layer, and they look like two pieces of dyed wool. And when you cut this out, it becomes more green, and it becomes very, very beautiful because it also is a herringbone. So it does look like a dyed piece of herringbone when you hook it. Spring Plaid is great if this is in your color palette, and it's a great mixer. Now we're going to go to some dark backgrounds that you can use. Some dark I'm going to go back 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Here is the piece of Spring Plaid. This is the yellow stripe cut out. And when you hook with it, this is what you get. Gorgeous. And it goes nice with Irish Angel too, doesn't it? Yes, it does. So that's a good way to dissect that plaid. This is a very dark background, but it is brown with flecks of colors. It's great if you're a bold person, a person who likes to hook with bold colors, a lot of hand-dyed. You have a lot of hand-dyed noodles left over, and you want to do a pull and hook, which was done, and there was two in there that used this Irish Angel as their constant. And if you go back to the slideshow, Jane Dunaway and Janice Alt used this as their constant. They used it in their lines, and they used a mix of this in their centers. Because they had such bold hand-dyed wools and textures, they used this to solidify it. And then they used a lighter background. But you could use this as your background, use flat black in there as your lines, or even a tempting teal. So if you have nice colors or you want an antique look, this would be a great background, great for the lines, or great for the centers. Same thing, I know we use tempting teal as in a color plan. It also makes a great background. Chocolate bar. Chocolate bar is wonderful. It's got a golden tone to it. It gives a warmth feel to Prudence immediately. So if this is your background, this is your lines, and you want to really bounce a rug and you want a fall rug, you can use your oranges for this. Okay? Here's a bigger piece of Irish Angel. So I'm going to use Irish Angel as my constant, lines or center. I'm going to use my two oranges and chocolate bar to go in between these. This would be my lines. Then I'm going to really turn this up, and I'm going to use one of my boho velvets as my center throughout. Or if you didn't want it to use it as a center, you could use it as a middle layer or an outer layer. Makes a great fall. So this would be another wonderful use of color, of oranges, something we don't use a lot or don't talk about a lot till fall, but makes a great one. And if you have a lot of cut oranges in your stash, you can take the velvet away and add in another layer. Sleepy Hollow. Great dark background, wonderful dark background. You can you can make this your background. Again, Irish Angel could be your centers, it could be your lines, and then you can go with a very, very warm feel to it. Like this. And maybe we have Perfect Plaid, Cranberry Stripe, and Green Tea. And then these would go in between like that, and that would be your background. Very nice look, very soft look. And with Perfect Plaid, every time you hook this, it's going to hook a little different. So it will look like you use a multitude of wools. Or you could augment a teal in here. You could change this into a teal and that, and then use the brown as another layer as your center. Your options are limitless, as you can see. Everything changes. It's based on your palette. It's based on how you would like it to look or what you have in your stash. I have a few more color plans, and then we're going to talk about what Christmas in July is going to be, our next one. This is one of my favorite color plans, and if I was to hook this table runner, this would probably be how I would hook it. This would be my background, comfort stripe. It's the same thing that I used in my Burnham, my large bed rug Burnham. I love it. It hooks very nice. I would use green tea, perfect plaid, and cranberry stripe. And my constant in this would be my teal. And the teal would either be my center or one of my layers. Or you could move it in with your lines if you wanted to. If this became the lines, it does highlight each of these very nicely, just like that. Another constant that you could use that would really be pretty and pick up that blue stripe would be Zoot Suit. So if this is your lines, then you would have your green tea, and then it would come in again as your lines with perfect plaid, and then come in with your lines with the cranberry stripe. Very stunning, very different. Or maybe you have a big stash of blue or brown, dark brown. You could use Irish Angel too in between. Of cut noodles. That could be your constant in your lines. It doesn't have to be the same. So this could also be your constant, Irish Angel 2 or any dark browns that you have. So plenty of options. They don't have to be light, medium, and dark. The colors do have to stand up from your background. They do have to be distinct, but don't always go with light, medium, and dark. One of our last color plans, before I go into a pull and hook, is a nice purple texture. A light background of Barnside Gray, and then we would have the different purples. You have Grape Ape, you have Lavender Craze, and then you would mix in your green tea. So this makes it pretty. It actually looks like lilacs. So you could make a nice 1, 2, 3. So what's your constant? Well, you need something to separate each of these. You could go with purples from your stash. You can go with a blue like Zoot Suit. Now, Zoot Suit looked very navy in the last color plan we did, and that's great. But then you could make this your constant because it looks a little more purple in between here. If you like mixed media, great mixed media. This is a great one to use mixed media because this is your background. Or this could be your 3 colors and this could be your background. It's whatever you would like. But if this is your background, these are your 3 colors, you would use a boho light gray in between because the texture difference makes it a constant. Or you could make this your center, whatever you would like to do. You could just stick with this, make this your center or one of the layers, and you would be fine. So as you can tell, the options are up to you. It's your color palette, whatever you would like. Now I had some questions about what a pull and hook is. Pull and hook is exactly this. This is one of my stash bags. This is a bag I'm pulling from for another project that you're going to see very soon for Christmas in July. I have designed a line of 4 tree skirts, so I'm pulling for my Christmas tree skirts from this bag. But this could also be pulled. It's not just blue and green, there's gold. So you would pull colors, and your constant would be your lines. You could use a dark background. I've got dyed in here, I've got pinks. So you would use this as your background. You could also use it as your lines. And you may have these in little bags. And no matter what you pull from the pile, it goes in each layer. Each layer is not a distinct color. Each layer is pulled and comes with a million different little colors. There was a couple of in the slideshow who did that. I know Jane Dunaway did it, I know Janice Alt did it, and Pam Landry. And what it creates a glass look. It actually looks like merino glass. depending on what you have to pull from. And that's where you pay no attention to, you just put your lines in first, then you just pull. Whatever comes up, you may have a green, you may have a gold, you may have a purple, you may have a pink. And if you can just pull and hook and let it create itself, it is a beautiful glass effect, a great way to destash. This way, if you destash, you can build up again. When you're coming to Rug Hooking Week, that is sponsored by Rug Hooking Magazine at Souter Village. So, that is Prudence. That is the many facets of Prudence. And now we're going to get a sneak peek of Christmas in July. The next third Thursday video is going to be hooking some projects. And we're going to talk about Christmas in July. And we're going to talk about how to use our mixed media that we had last month, apply it, and hook a Celtic. So we'll go over hooking a Celtic tree. And also we have a brand new line that will be introduced. This is a preview. This is a Celtic wreath. We have Celtic wreaths. We have Celtic snowflakes. And we are going to print them on our bleached linen. Why are we doing that? To give you the option of not hooking the background. So for this right here, if you wanted to do a beautiful Celtic Christmas one, you could do our Christmas green on sparkle with a gray. You could do Christmas green with one of our reds, our Christmas red. You could take away this, and you could do red for one of the chains and velvets for another. I'm going to show you how to size this out to hook, how to hook this so maybe you don't have to hook the background, or it can be finished as a wreath, as a candle mat, as a pillow. Many, many options, and it doesn't have to be for Christmas. We'll also go over some fall colors. This can be one ring, while this is another. So these are all going to be fun options for our Christmas in July. I hope you'll enjoy the Prudence slideshow and all the work that everybody did on them. And I look forward to seeing your Prudence. Please be sure to email them to us. And I hope that you have a wonderful month. I'll see you next third Thursday. And be well and stay well. Thank you.